All right, we're going to be tapping into a little bit of truck madness. We're not going to go too crazy today. Today we're going to be talking about bushings and the reason why I'm moving to harder bushings. As you can see, we have the Slappy's 95A bushings right here. Shout out Skate 618 for these bad boys. Check out their website for all the skateboarding and fingerboarding goods. Otherwise then, let's start setting these new bushings up. I'll kind of explain why I'm going to be switching to these. And I feel like I'm kind of doing a big no-no because I have slappy bushings going into independent trucks. So I feel like that's kind of illegal. But the other reason why I am doing this, independent, I believe, only makes a 93 hardness or 92 hardness of a bushing. I'll actually double check. We'll go into specs further. But these are 95s, and I know they don't make them actually this hard. So really quickly, I'm riding the independent forged hollows. These are not the titanium hollows. I believe these are the ones underneath them. So I do have the forged base plate. You can see it's actually pretty thin, followed with just like a painted hollow, axle and kingpin right there, as you guys can see. And these trucks actually came with the blue bushing. Normally they come with that yellowy orange bushing. So I did look it up, and the blue bushing is a 92A. And what is the yellow? Yellow is a 90. Oh, okay, black is a 94. And I think that's as hard as they get, because then otherwise, then as you can see, the red is an 88, which is pretty soft. And yeah, okay. But as you can see, the Slappies does make it 1 durometer, I guess, harder than that. So it'll be interesting to put these on, and hopefully they fit really well. The other thing I do want to mention with this bushing that I did already like more, for some reason when I get hollow trucks, especially from Indy, they come looser than the normal trucks for some reason. So I did notice with this bushing, I only had to crank it down maybe like once or twice, as you can kind of see right here. There's not many threads right there. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is I'm just trying to eliminate how much I actually have to tighten my truck. I know I could get the inverted kingpin. I'll explain more about that. But this is what we're working with, and hopefully with the harder bushing though, I won't have to tighten it nearly as much, and hopefully I'll improve some kind of pop off of my trucks, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah, okay. All right, so I want to actually compare the bushings, because it's funny, the only other time I really have switched out my bushings was with the Bones bushings, and I used to low-key like those Dodo bushings back in the day. I swear it was probably just because of the graphics and the colors. I don't even remember what color I even rode back in the day. Now that I think about it, maybe yellow or blue. And I don't even know if those colors are hard or soft or whatever they are, but I remember I did like them. So the reason why I went back to the hollow kingpin, honestly, is so I could tighten my trucks more. I felt like when I was riding the inverted kingpins, I could only tighten them so much. And I probably could have actually used a harder bushing at the time as well. I just didn't really think about that. So I guess kind of better late than never, but I felt like the trucks would kind of loosen up on me a little bit. They didn't loosen up like crazy, but when I was skating curbs, it really didn't bother me. Just noticed I don't need the looser truck outside of the curbs. Also, when I was skating curbs, I was hitting my kingpin more often, just doing feeble grinds on curbs. And now that I'm not skating curbs as much, I feel like the regular kingpin doesn't really hinder me too much. Obviously on rails, it will still hang up, and you can kind of see there is a little wear and tear on it right now. Okay, I just took the old bushings off, and it seems like these are all kind of the same little washers. Okay, they're all kind of same size, but I wanted to measure these up. So the back ones do look the same. Even the front ones, they actually do look very, very similar, honestly. Like shape, size, everything, height, you know what I mean? So hopefully it should be a nice little switch up with these. It shouldn't be anything too crazy. I also wanted to leave these ones on here because I actually waxed the bottom of these, as you can kind of see, so I don't get that little truck squeak. So I'm gonna leave these on because they are broken in. They did say these do come broken in already, so I don't know. We'll be the judge of that. But it's fine. My truck, I think it'll look kind of nice with the white bushing. Does it really matter what we're gonna do? Okay, we're gonna put that one on first, obviously. We're gonna throw this thing, the hanger back on. Also, quick side note, another thing you should also wax up is this little part right here on your truck. If your trucks are squeaking, that'll definitely help, where the pivot cup sits. So you can just kind of even throw wax in there if you really want. This new little bushing. And like I said, I think I'm gonna keep the OG like stock washer right there. Screw this guy back on. So I'm only going to tighten this thing, honestly, just till it's kind of flush and just tight on my board, just where I know it's not going to fall off. Because when we actually skate it, we'll see how it actually feels. I'm just trying to line up the nut of kind of like where it was already skated. All right, we're going to take this bottom one off now. So as I take off the other truck, I do want to talk more about the hard bushings and why I want to skate tighter trucks. Because it's kind of funny, I feel like for a while the trend of having loose trucks was really trendy, you know, loose truck saves lives, which it totally does, you know what I mean? When you're landing a trick and you slightly bend a little bit, you could totally ride out of a trick. Also, when you're locking into a grind with loose trucks, it does really help, I feel. Like when you're doing crooked grinds and you have a loose truck, that thing literally just sits, it just sits right in the crook, you know what I mean? There's not much effort. But remember how I was saying my truck is going to give me more pop if it's tighter? I've just noticed a lot of tech skaters that do crooked grind, nollie flips out, even just doing manual tricks, they have tight trucks. Of course, Day One is an exception. He skates loose trucks. He's just the balance master. Let's not really even count him in this like scenario. But whenever I watch people do crook nollie flip, crook nollie heel, I've noticed that front truck is pretty tight. So as you can kind of see right here, how it kind of snaps back really quick, obviously, with the tight truck, you know what I mean? Like once I push it down and release it, it just goes back. So I feel like that's going to give me a natural little pop out of like my tricks. Where when it's a little bit looser, it takes a little bit longer for it to like pop out. So you can kind of see, I mean, of course, this isn't a great demonstration. But as you can see, it's a little bit a slower time of my truck reacting back to when it is tighter. Because like even this, I can feel when it's tight, it's going to snap back so fast. So I feel like that's actually going to help me learn crook nollie flip a little bit better. Just kind of like my theory that that's going to help. I could totally be wrong. Also, it's kind of interesting too that these old bushings in here are really squeaky and the new ones are not squeaky at all. And it's usually kind of the opposite. Usually when you have new bushings, they're usually very squeaky. So maybe they are onto something with these things being broken in already. All right, so we're gonna tighten this thing up. And like I said, we're not gonna tighten it super tight. I'm just gonna kind of keep it flush right now. And I wanna see kind of how it starts out. Because usually when I do skate independents, I usually don't tighten them at all. So I'm gonna try to leave it flush, like I said, with this, and we'll stand on it and we'll see how much adjustment we really need with the bushings. So we've got the bushings on the trucks. I feel like the white looks really clean. Let's stand on the board actually and see how it feels. But I feel like the ultimate test is going to be when we actually skate it. Okay, we're finally outside with the new trucks right now. We're not going to actually skate or anything, but I just want to feel these. It just rained, as you can kind of see, so it's finally drying up. We'll get to skate this afternoon, I'm sure. But okay, so the trucks right now, I didn't tighten them at all. Like I said, they're really flush, and they're actually pretty loose right now feeling. So I'm going to actually still have to tighten these up. Now, usually when I tighten my trucks, I kind of just do it by like one at a time, like one full crank at a time, or even a half crank, but let's do that. This bottom one feels like I had to just crank that down pretty gnarly. Like it felt like it got tight. So let's see. I'm going to put this board back here. Okay, that feels a little bit better. And it's funny because at first I was going to say, I'm surprised these bushings aren't really creaking that much for how new they are, but now I hear them. They actually feel, as weird as it sounds, they kind of do feel slightly broken in, but obviously that creak is not the best right now. So we're going to have to definitely break these in a little bit more. That pretty much sums up the video right now. We got the bushings on. We're going to be skate testing them next, so definitely stay tuned for that. But I am curious, do any of you guys switch your bushings? Do you guys like the harder bushing, the softer bushing? And do you feel like that having a different bushing helps? Because I usually don't really mess around my bushings very much like this. The only thing I'm not looking forward to is when you put new bushings in, you're kind of like breaking in new trucks, if that makes sense. So we'll see how well these bushings actually break in. I'm going to be curious to see if the harder bushing is going to help me out with manuals. Like I mentioned, popping out of grind tricks like crooked grinds. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to say at the end.
Spencer told me at endnews.com. This has just turned into an ad. You've already clicked away, but don't stay tuned because skating is not going to happen.
Well, it might, but probably not for this bit. Hey, you'll save some money on the shoesies. I mean, some new shoes probably just dropped the time you see this. How you doing? Get a nice little break. Tell them you know what guy.
You want one of those bamboo boots? You get one of these bamboo boots.
Tell them you know what guy.